Hey people, what's going on? Welcome to Real Tough Talk. Tough Talk.
How is that even possible?
Tough Talk.
Stephen J. partner goes, show some
So
respect.
you did not answer the question.
He's a bad man. He's a bad. He finally said it.
But the slipper's gone, the dress has holes in it, the cart turned into a pumpkin again. So what else you gonna do?
Lights out season.
Let's get as quick into the game as possible because I am not staying in this wig longer than I have to.
All right, people, what's going on? What is going on? What is going on? I'm excited and humbled to bring out to another episode of Real Tough Talk. I'm Stephen J. I'm here with my partner Ghost. I'm with my other partner Lou the Shooter, and we're here to bring you the EHS 2025 AA Championship. Carver, Mobb, YMM.
Listen, first of all, I just gotta mention, first show of the year in general. So, glad to be back. We had, some time off from our league or whatnot, but I'm glad that we were able to come out on this Saturday and cover the game. It's a huge game. Obviously, a momentous moment for Carver that they were trying to achieve this past Saturday. YMM trying to get in the way of that. So exciting all around. I'm just glad that I was there to cover it all.
Well, it's been a long time since we've gathered together. I don't miss Stephen J. I'm more so miss Ghost as he don't ever come to church.
Wow.
But Jay Brown, I see him, a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? But no shade. But yeah, this was a long season, just as long as Ghost hasn't been to church. But
goodness.
shots fired. Boom, boom.
Yeah, I know.
And I like him. Stephen J. not so much. But yeah, it was finally being able to finish the season, and that's an accomplishment. I was there for their 50th, you know what I'm saying? And now you have your 60th, which wasn't, their 50th wasn't that long ago. You know what? This would have been their third straight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which the only team to have done that I can recall was YMM.
Right.
Who won 3 out of 4. They went 4 straight.
Right. I mean, listen, YMM has won 3 straight. And the thing about these teams is they have history. Guys have played on Carver that's on this YMM team, like Bones and Jeremy. So as you look at it, this is, I don't want to say it's really a rivalry, but I say it's more of like teacher and student type, because YMM learned a lot from being on that Carver squad as the guys from the other part of YMM, Brown and Gaka and these other guys learned a lot from underrated. And when they come together and they have a chance to use what they learned from these two organizations to use it to stop Carver, that's amazing. You know what I mean? And it's definitely an accomplishment just for both teams to be here. Now, we're not going to act like we didn't know what happened. We're not going to act like we didn't know who won. Carver would win this game, but we're going to break down what really happened and how they were able to win this game. Now, for y'all don't know the history of this little run, the Final Four was Carver versus Bama and YMM versus DEFCON 1. We had a little controversy with Carver playing Bama. Bama couldn't make the game because they had personal issues, and we know YMM and DEFCON 1 had the scuffle. And both games was ended. We didn't know how the season was going to end. And then the higher powers of the league came together with DEFCON 1, with YMM, to trying to figure out what they're going to do. They had already established that Bama was going to make up the game. Lou, what was your thoughts when you found out that YMM was going to end up resuming the game versus DEFCON 1, even though that kind of ended in kind of a little scuffle and all the players was going to be allowed to play?
Well, you're being nice when you called it a scuffle, because it was a brawl. The thing is, this is the thing. I don't think they should allow, players should have been suspended, plain and simple. There's no way around it. Dudes are delusional where they think they don't take responsibility for what they do. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we want to compare it to professional sports. This would you don't continue a game like that. If you do, there's consequences and repercussions, and that's the problem.
Goals, your thoughts on it?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole situation is unfortunate because you want guys to come out and play and compete, and you don't want it to be taken out of the game. Obviously, fights and scuffles and stuff like that take it out of the game, and it throws so much off, you know, in a general sense. So it already kind of ruins the atmosphere of the game that's supposed to be taking place. So you never want that to happen. You know, I'm just glad that eventually teams were able to get past that, and they were able to actually get an outcome to the game and actually finish, you know, continue the season, because it would be unfortunate for everybody involved for things to end that way. You know, our game of football shouldn't end in situations like that at all. That's inexcusable, and it's something that we can't allow to be something that persists in a general sense. So I'm just glad that they were able to get past it, and we're here to cover this game at least.
I'm gonna finish it up, and I don't want to drag it. I'm gonna just give you my opinion. I'm glad that the team's able to play because you know, EHS kind of had an issue this season with the field thing, and the owner of the league took accountability, saying that he prolonged the league too long, giving guys buys, trying to help everybody out, and it kind of backfired. So he took responsibility, and I think that's why he allowed the game to be played, because that was a big stand, and that postponement of games was not on the teams, which kind of made it a lot worse going down the slippery slope. So I think that's why he allowed the game to go, and I congratulate him on that. It was a lose-lose situation. It didn't matter what side you went. It was going to be controversy. I'm glad they was able to play it, and they was able to end the season the right way, and now they know they can adjust going forward to make sure a situation like this don't happen again. Now we'll jump right into this game. Now you're going to have YMM versus Carver Mobb. Both of them teams won the games to get to this point. Now, before we start, this is the funny thing I want to bring up. It's not only Chuck versus Corey, YMM brand versus Carver brand. What's funny about this is you have, if you look right here on this video, you have AB warming up. AB signed with YMM because Super Friends wasn't in the season. And on the other side, you have the defensive captain of Super Friends playing on Carver Mobb, wearing a Carver Mobb jersey. Now, I don't know what type of multi-universe we're in right now. As you can see this Super Friends picture right here, where AB and B-Roy both in the picture, that this is crazy. Now, Super Friends Carver, that is a rivalry. So when you see both these players on the car on each team, that has to blow your mind away. Before we start, just give me your quick thoughts of that real quick.
When guys are on different teams, this always makes things interesting. I'm not one to say, oh, you got to be loyal to your team and you got to stay with them forever. And like I said, the mixing and matching is interesting, and you get to see what these guys truly bring to a team that they've never played on before, or that they normally don't play on before. So it's always interesting to see guys that's, on different teams. I mean, that's what makes when we cover our league so special. So it's always enjoyable to see, in my opinion.
Lou?
Well, the one thing is the fact that Super Friends didn't play, so it was an opportunity. But look, for Carver, that was a big picking up a veteran like B-Roy to play the middle. You know what I'm saying? He brings that experience and that leadership. And then with AB has a motor. You know what I'm saying? We'll see later on, Bones at Giver, depending on who the blocker is ineffective.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's tall and lanky. You know what I'm saying? AB could probably try to get around you since he's a little shorter.
All right, we're going to jump into the game. YMM is going to get the ball first. And they're going to start on a first down. Corey's going to throw to Ed in the gap, who pitches it to Juice, runs across the field, get him to the 45-yard line. Lou, I know we talk about, and I'm going to jump into the next play, but I just want to throw this out there real quick. I know we talk about a lot of players on YMM. We don't talk about Juice enough. Juice can hurt teams on both sides of the ball. And now he's not just a hothead anymore. To me, what I've seen, this guy has taken tremendous growth, and now you get to really see his talent outdoing his attitude. Before it was the other way. But now you see this kid's talent. He's very talented, great play there, getting a few extra yards. Third down, after a short pass, Corey throws the juice again, open in the gap, getting him to the 10-yard line. Fourth down, Corey with blocking from G, finds Jeremy cutting in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Slutty gets the extra point, 7-0. YMM takes the lead. If you look here, Jeremy cuts by Ant at the corner and no one's talking. But Ghost, really quick, what I want people to see is, if I'm right, if you look at this play, as Corey is rolling to his left, it makes Henry move.
Yes.
Henry is a freestyle safety, and Henry likes to cheat on the ball. So when Corey moves over, it forces Henry to move over. And then Jeremy cuts the other way, getting open, and Corey finds him in the back of the end zone.
You mentioned one player, you mentioned Henry shifting, but Henry and West, if you look in the shot here, they're both shifting to the left. And once they follow the quarterback, they're spotting the quarterback, trying to make a big play. And usually a lot of defensive players allow guys to cut from behind them. They're not watching that, and because of that, they get open. On these red zone plays, you gotta look at the guy cutting from the sideline. However they're cutting across the field, you gotta see where they're at. And because they're busy watching the quarterback, guys are able to cut behind them and get wide open. That's exactly what happens here.
Lou, you want to?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like Go said, Wakanda West was too busy looking at Corey, like he was coming at him in his village. He had to make sure he didn't get to. So the West knows I love him. But yeah, he was just too busy looking at, and how we was discussing about dudes not looking around to find a man instead of looking straight ahead at the quarterback. Remember last season, that's what we talked about basically on every touchdown.
Exactly. All right, Carver gets the ball back. First down, Chuck scrambles with blocker from Timmy. Throws it West in the gap for a nice gain, getting him to the 45-yard line. If you look here, Bones can't get through Timmy. Lou, I don't understand this matchup. You had AB for this. You need more of a physical Energizer Bunny than Bones, who doesn't have a lot of power. He has length, but if he can't get inside and force Chuck to throw over the top, then it doesn't really help having him there. And this is a great blocking by Timmy, giving him time.
Yeah, and like we stated before, that's the problem. If Bones can knock a ball down, but if you can't get past the daggone blocker, it makes no point. You working him too hard because he's playing offense as well. So yeah, that was not smart on their part.
Chuck with a pass to Sal open in the middle, who runs for a nice gain, getting him to the 20-yard line. Guys got to understand, Sal is here to destroy the middle. And the problem with YMM is they spread out and they get too open, and then they allow the receiver to cut across the field. And if you look at, that's exactly what Sal did, getting open in the middle. Third down, Chuck rolls right on 4 rush, throws it Sal in the gap. Sal stopped running, almost picked off by Slutty. Y'all already know the saying. When you drop an interception, we know what happens. 4th and goal, Chuck finds West cutting in the front of the end zone for the touchdown. Carver misses the extra point, 7-6. If you look here, West cuts and nobody picks him up for the touchdown. What do you think about that, Ghost?
We've been saying this for years. When you miss an opportunity on defense, the offense has a huge opportunity to capitalize. That's exactly what happened. This was a huge defensive play that was missed by Slutty. Wait for him to be there, but if you don't come down with the ball, all you're doing is giving the worst quarterback to give that extra opportunity, that very opportunity, and they take advantage and get that touchdown there. That is a big blow to YMM's defense. And I'm going to break it down what's even more crazy before you go, Lou. The problem with that play is, if you look how they're playing, they look like they're playing a man. And when West cuts, you would expect Slutty and Jeremy to switch. They don't. So when West comes back across, Slutty's already beat. Slutty's one of the top 5 offensive players in the game. He is a horrible defender. He gets beat with the double move all of the time. And the offense happens to lean him the opposite way. You're going to see this happen again later. Jeremy and him does not switch. And when West bounced back to the other side, he is wide open.
What do you think, Lou? Tell me I'm wrong on that.
And you know what it is, that all he did was run straight, cut across, and like you said, it was Jeremy that was next to Kevin, right?
Yep.
And he just stopped. He didn't even continue to go with him to stare at Chuck.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that space that West had, nobody could have stopped him on that, regardless.
Once again, guys, looking at the quarterback, which always hurts him. But like we said before, that drop interception is what kills you.
Yep.
All right, Corey gets the ball back. First down, Corey throws a short pass to G, who runs on the sideline for a decent gain. Listen, G's a threat out the backfield now. The guy lost some weight. He still can block, but you got to watch him catching out the backfield. Great game right there. Second down, Corey throws a depth, cutting in the gap for a nice gain, getting to the 15-yard line. If you look here, Corey attacks B-Roy in the gap. Now, B-Roy was a guy that can run with anybody. He's not that no more.
40 years old.
Exactly. His body took a beating from playing tackle. So he can't move the way he used to. He's good at taking up space because of his size. But if you can isolate him in the gaps, this is a bad matchup, and they're able to make a play here. Third and goal. Corey throws short to G in the gap, who runs it in for the touchdown. If you look here, B-Roy, who's at the linebacker, and Bo, who's at the corner, are both watching Jeremy. They're both watching Jeremy. And they leave G, who just beat them out the backfield earlier. So you know Corey put this play in his pocket and waited and caught them here. Let me tell you something. You could call Jeremy a hothead. We could call him the bully. At the end of the day, he brings attention on the field because his ability to catch the ball over the middle and go downfield. So that's why they got to respect him. And for the fact that they don't know that this is the new G, he can run out the backfield and make these catches. Jeremy gets the extra point, 14-6. YMM takes a command lead. What do you think, Lou?
Oh, well, there's one thing. That's G, the new G, the old G could still catch. You know what I'm saying? So he's always had hands.
Now.
He's always, yeah. Now the thing
move a little bit now.
This is my thing. The thing is, if G after 3 seconds is not coming back to block, you got to know he's going.
Yeah.
So it's like a little breakdown on their defense. YMM scoring twice on 2 possessions.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like you said, they were paying attention to Jeremy instead of, seeing that G isn't running back. So yeah, they're a little mental breakdown there.
All right. So right now, we got YMM up 14-6. They scored on both possessions in the first half. Both of their possessions, they scored touchdowns on. First down, Chuck is going to throw deep to Tech, who has a step on Buto, caught as he runs into the end zone for a touchdown. AB gets the sack on the extra point, 14-12. If you look here, Tech runs a delayed route, open downfield, and beats Buto. Bros, break this play down for me.
Right here, if you look, that's a delayed route. You see Tech run on the sideline and then runs full speed down the field. By then, the only defender that's there that's chasing him is Buto. That's a mismatch right there. And it looks like Chuck waited for that to be set up where right on 3 rush, the guy comes over to guard the next person next to them. And unfortunately, that was a mismatch with Buto left guarding Tech. There was no way that Buto was catching up to Tech on that play. When you saw that matchup, he was already wide open, and Chuck throws a great pass downfield where Tech can get it, and only Tech can get it for the touchdown.
And here's the thing, that Brown comes up to blitz. So he leaves Tech there, and Buto's the only one there. That's cooked food. That's barbecue chicken.
Exactly.
And Buto tried to make the adjustments to run with him, but it was too late.
Yeah, if you look at the play, first of all, I don't understand what they're running. Because if you look at it, Buto, who's the linebacker, is trying to get to the outside. First of all, he's not a speed linebacker to guard wide receivers. That's not what he does. But if you look at the rotation, this all starts because Brown starts to come in and opens the field up. Yep. So when Buto sees that, he slides. I think Buto, if you're going to do this, to drop back more to play Henry over the top. Because he has more of an ability to get back and let Ice go over and get pick up Tech. But Buto goes out. Henry clears it out. So now there's no safety help over the top. This was the design play. This wasn't a broken play. Butho gets there late, and he cannot catch up to Tech. Tech is too fast. They isolate Butho one-on-one on the island, and it all started because Brown gave him the gap. Instead of Brown staying at the line to bring pressure, he's coming in from the gap, which opens the field up and confuses the defenders because he's no longer back there. And they isolated him, and they gave him a one-on-one with Tech. Touchdown, Carver.
You know what's crazy? Because we've spoken about this before, where dudes are blitzing from 10 yards out. What are you doing?
Exactly.
You know, and once, I guess it was a design play regardless. I don't know if they knew Brown was coming, or if Brown is going to stay with him, he know he can beat him. You got me? What happened?
All right. We're gonna have a good season this year. We're gonna have a good season. Us back together, you're gonna have a good season. All right. So we had them scoring on that play. So now it is 14-12. Amazing. Both teams have scored on every possession.
Mm-hmm.
Second down, after a short pass, Corey on 4 rush is sacked by Timmy. If you look here, Ed tries and fails to block him as Slutty's opening the gap. I love that Ghost wrote on the notes. Ed tries and fails. Let me tell you something. Ed should not be blocked. It's just something that he doesn't do. I don't know why YMM is trying to scheme, and he should not be blocking Timmy. That is a disrespect to Timmy. And Timmy bulldozes him out of the way and gets Corey hit. If you look here, Lou, Slutty's open, but Corey doesn't have any time.
Nope.
Who picked this play? I'm keeping G on the field, especially that he gives me a threat coming out the backfield. This makes no sense. YMM gave up the play on this one.
Well, this was what my notes said. Ed stays to attempt to block, and Timmy runs through him like bad Mexican food for the sack.
I like that.
Dude, that was horrible. Timmy should have been ejected, arrested, something, because that was abuse. And then had the nerve to pump like, dude, you ran through a guy 110 pounds. Come on.
He should be arrested for impersonating a blocker. Excuse me. All right, 3rd and long, Corey throws it up, incomplete pass, YMM has to punt. They gave away this drive. And you can't do that against Carver. They just scored. You know it's going to be a shootout. And that one sack, when you bring pressure to Corey, it throws his whole game off. Corey does not like contact at all. That's even being tagged.
True.
After that injury he had, he does not like contact. And I think 3rd and long, listen, you live to fight another day. I understand you just throwing it up to see what happens. But listen, I'm giving the screen because you know what? I'm trying to get physical with Carver. Is that going to give me a touchdown? But I bring some toughness back, and just throwing it up, especially when you got guys like West and Henry back there, is a bad idea. They're going to have to punt. YMM's first punt of the game. Chuck, those are West cutting in the gap for a nice game, getting to the 48-yard line. If you look here, West is left wide open in the gap. No one's talking on defense. Their middle is opening up crazy all day, and Carver is attacking them in the middle. We seen Butho come up with a big play a week ago or a few weeks ago on the pick. I need Butho to do that here, and then it's not working. I don't know what's going on with this team. They didn't look like they had the same type of toughness because Carver's going right over the middle all day, and they're picking up yards on these plays. 2nd down, Chuck throws a nines open in the gap, getting to the 10-yard line. If you look here, the defenders are dropping back, Ghost. They're giving them a cushion after they're giving them a cushion.
Yeah.
What?
They're giving up too much space. Clear and point blank. Why are you dropping back and allowing the receivers to get in the gaps and get easy plays that way? Like, what are we
dropping back? They're backing up like Carver got the cooties, bro. That's what they're doing. They're dropping back like, I don't want to be too close.
Listen, and you know what's funny? We say that all the time. When you want the receivers to come to you, they're also backing up 10, 20 yards. So all you're doing is you're giving up all of the gaps. Why are you doing that? But it seems like it's inherent for defenders when they call hike on the offense to back up. No, stay right there and allow the receiver to come to you. The only defensive players that should be backing up, even somewhat, are the safeties in the backfield. Other than that, everybody should be staying there waiting for the receivers to come to them. And since they don't do that, Chuck is chopping up the field and taking all of that yardage like they're giving him.
3rd and goal with 14 seconds left. Chuck finds West cutting in the front of the end zone for the touchdown. Tech gets the 2-point conversion, 20-14. If you look here, West beats Slutty in the front of the end zone. I said it before. Slutty is one of the top 5 offensive players in the game. He's not a good defender, especially man-on-man, especially when you can get him in isolation. And West is too much of a better offensive player than Slutty is a defensive player, and Louis makes him pay it with a touchdown.
Look, Wakanda West basically ran the same play that he did before when he scored. It wasn't that hard of a play. He just went straight up, and Kevin stood there, looked at Chuck, and by the time he looked, West is passed him for the touchdown. And you know, like Mike said or Ghost said about the defenders going back. You see Kevin going back like 5 yards once they call height. What's the point? You're already near the end zone. You don't want to stop him in the end zone.
And real quick, I just got to say this. The fact that if you look at West's routes, he's jogging in the first 2-3 seconds. And as soon as he hits 3 rush, that's when he's jetting into a spot. And Chuck already has it that he's going to throw as soon as he makes that move. So the ball is already coming out as soon as West makes that move. And that is why it's hard for the defender to adjust. So it doesn't even matter if it's Slutty playing bad defense or not. These routes are timed a certain way that the defense can't react in time. So because these guys are given so much space, as soon as West is running, he makes that cut, the ball is right going to his chest. So you got to understand and not give them that much space, because the moment he's able to move that way, that's a touchdown.
Well, you just said you can't give him that much space. That makes the difference between an average defender and a top defender. So I understand what you're saying, but a top defender finds a way to get a hand and nip the ball, do something. Slutty was beat. He was beat.
You know what? To Ghost's point, I understand what he's saying. Like he jogged over, he planted, and it looked like he was going to go left, and that's when Kevin moved. But like you said, you gotta watch the hips.
The jog is the giveaway.
Yeah.
West is a good route runner. Why would he be jogging? Who does the same thing? Henry. When these guys are jogging, they're setting up for the double move. So that's basically how you can tell. They're not going to sit plays off. The only time when Henry sits a play off is when he takes that little 5-out route. But when he jogs up the field, he's going with a double move because he uses the quick feet, which is why these guys have played equipment. That's their route. And Chuck knows it's an option route. So he knows the way that West thinks he can beat him, that's where the ball is going. So if he sees him going to cut left, that's why the ball is going. It's an option route. So that puts it on the receiver and the quarterback. Once the receiver makes the cut, that's what it is. You know how you see a receiver make a double move and the quarterback is like this? Well, on an option route, it is no double move. You're going one way. And that's when the ball is always right there. And they're gonna get the touchdown. Tech gets a 2-point conversion. Last play of the half, Corey's gonna throw it up. Knocked away, incomplete, take us into the half, 20-14, Carver.
Listen, YMM started off hot on offense, and it seems like their defensive play kind of slowed them down. Now, it's a lot of mistakes that they already made in the first half that it's something that they have to adjust. First of all, you can't have Bones rushing in when you have Timmy blocking. That makes no sense whatsoever. That should not happen, because he's not getting through Timmy, and all you're doing is giving Chuck extra time to play around with the play. So these guys, Wes, Henry, Tech, it's hard to defend them 7 seconds, 10 seconds when you have a blocker like Timmy giving you that extra time. So I don't care what type of defender you are, you got to have somebody that's able to put pressure on Chuck. If you don't, he's going to have all day to pick your defense apart. And then you have guys not adjusting on defense as well. You have guys giving up too much space. All of these things are going to affect your whole team as a whole, and they had to find a way to adjust. Unfortunately, we know the outcome, and they didn't do that.
Go ahead, Lou.
It's we saw YMM hot the first two drives, scored easily. both defenses weren't great in the first half, but look on that last play with the 2-point conversion. What did Tech do? Behind the defense with his arms in the air, waving the plane down like he was tattoo from Fantasy Island. You know, like Go said, we already know what how the game ends, but again, it's a breakdown of the defense. YMM hasn't been known really for great defense. You know what I'm saying? They do enough to get by with their wins, but you're seeing the breakdown here.
All right, we're going to jump into the game with Carver getting the ball in the second half. First down, Chuck throws his Tech near the sideline, knocked away by Jeremy. That's a great play by Jeremy, but he got beat. Tech beat him. He was able to get a hand in, but you see how they're moving out and coming back up? They're running their route full speed and coming back up. Tech was open. Yeah. I don't think this was a great pass by Chuck because that gave Jeremy a chance to knock the ball out. If you see what Tech has to put his hands out, Chuck, if it's a comeback route, I think Chuck got to put that more into his chest to protect the ball because the defender's coming full speed from the outside. So, Lou, if you make me have to extend when the safety's coming, he could get his hand in. If you put the ball in my chest there, I can protect the ball with my body. I don't think he did that there. But if you see the space, Tech beats Jeremy here.
Yeah.
But Jeremy, who has played safety, has makeup speed, knows when to get physical, and he got physical and knocked this ball out. Second down, Chuck goes deep to Henry, open in the gap, caught in the end zone for the touchdown. Brown gets the sack on the extra point. If you look here, it's 26-14. Ice is at safety. I don't know why they have Ice at safety. He is not a safety. He slides away from Henry to guard Sal for a second, leaving Henry open. Then he attempts to come back over to Henry and mistimes the jump. When you are a safety, you have to know where you're going to be, and you have to know who can hurt you more. Henry hurts you more over the top, but because Ice, who's trying to patrol everywhere on the field and didn't communicate with who? The other safety. If you look on this, Jeremy's coming up. He's supposed to be on that side deep.
Yeah.
Ice is on the other side. He comes back down to the other way to try to pick up Henry. But if Ice calls Jeremy, who's the other safety on the other side, maybe Jeremy gets there in time to help. This was a broken play. Ice completely missed time to jump. And this is a matchup that I did not like. Lou, I see you looking at what you think.
Wow, because so Jeremy's playing safety, but he's like in front.
Correct, like a strong safety.
And you know what it was?
In a two-back zone.
Right. So I think he was trying to guard Tech.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
who just beat him on the move. So now he's playing him up close up, which opens up the over the top to Henry because they're not communicating. No. You can't play defense without talking, and they're not talking. And let me ask you a question. Was Juice on punishment? I thought he could play defense. Why don't they got him at the safety? I've seen Juice play safety, and he's a great athlete. I don't understand why, but they went in completely baffling on this defense, and now they've given up 4 touchdowns on 4 possessions. Carver has scored on every possession they had the ball.
Everyone.
That's a room for a disaster. So you can't say they're playing defense because they're absolutely not, and we don't want to insult defense. All right. So right now, like I said, Brown got the sack on the extra point, and now the score is 26-14. Corby throws the ball to Ed, cutting near the sideline for a decent game. Second down, Corby with a screen pass to Juice in the gap for a decent game. That's not a decent game. That's a broken play. They didn't make the block. The block was missed, and that's why they was able to make the tag. That's a design screen that YMM runs, and you can see right here Juice upset because they missed the block. Third down, with blocking from G, Corey throws to Ed open on the sideline, getting to the 5-yard line. If you look here, Alvaro's watching the quarterback as Ed is left open. They were supposed to attack Alvaro. He was getting yelled at from the defense half the game, and rather than they capitalize on that, they went away from it. Alvaro is a seasoned veteran, but if you can isolate him because of his height, he gets into trouble. They did not keep attacking that And I think that's one of the things that hurt them there. Now,
Alvaro looked like he was in the middle and saw somebody. That's why he stayed there, even though there was another defender there. So then by the time he runs across, plays over, the ant jumps in his face. You know, like he's the veteran over the rookie. You know what I'm saying?
And you're right. And I'm gonna say this. Sometimes when you have players that's quick to defend themselves before they looking at the next person, it looked like a couple of times, like the play on first down, Ant was in the vicinity and it looked like the play was on his side. So now he's looking for somebody else to blame. He looked at Alvaro. If you look here, he blames Alvaro on this play. But if you look, Alvaro slides over to pick up, I believe that's Juice. So he has somebody on this play, but yet still he yells at Alvaro anyway. This is not Alvaro's fault. Now the third down play here that you emphasize, that was Alvaro's fault because he lets Ed pass right by him and doesn't point him out and then guard somebody else that has a defender already on him. So that is Alvaro. So you gotta mix and match when something is somebody's fault and when something is not. But the fact that all you do is yell, it doesn't help. Communicate with your defense. It doesn't help.
He's rubbed guys the wrong way with this. We've seen this with GTM when he was getting slutty upset because he tends to yell too much. And if you want to be a leader, you lead, but you also got to know when to coddle your teammates.
Yeah.
And he's not know how to do that. And because of that, he gets to be, he had arguing with Henry earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Same thing. So I think he needs to work on getting his message across. I think he's a great player. We've seen him win back-to-back MVPs in the A and the D1, championship MVPs. But at the end of the day, the kid has to know talking to grown men like this is not going to work.
And we're going to address that later on, but
jump right back on to get the play. 4th and goal. Corby's going to roll right and throw it up. It's going to be incomplete, but the defense get called for holding 5 yards replay down. Now, they got upset. We can't completely see it because of the rollout, but if you look, first of all, the holding was on Henry.
Yeah.
Slutty says it. Henry does not argue. Henry does not say anything because that means Henry got beat and he takes the hold. That is what you're taught to do. Great play by Henry. They were upset because Gallo didn't throw it and it's in Gallo's vicinity. Gallo can't see the hole that the play is coming towards him.
Yeah.
Tiki can see the hole because the play is going away from him while Tiki throws a flag. Great flag by Tiki. Great hole by Henry. That's what you're taught to do.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it.
You get to play another down.
And he admitted it.
So that's going to take us to give him an extra down. Corey on 4th down throws to Slutty, who's wide open in the end zone. Off target, incomplete, turnover on downs. First of all, I love how Moya comes out and say the ball don't lie. The ball don't lie. Now, first of all, I didn't know the ball had a soul. That's first of all. Second of all, how is that the ball lying? The ball didn't lie. It was a hold. So I don't understand why guys say the ball don't lie if it bounced their way. Because I didn't know the ball was human.
And your guy admitted it. Henry admitted that he did help. Like he said,
held him.
Yeah, that's football.
Corey misses this throw. And we've seen Jimmy Milo miss a throw like this. We've seen Chuck miss a throw like this. Sometimes the easiest throws are the hardest to make. But when your defense has given up 4 touchdowns on 4 possessions, you cannot miss this throw. This was a great route by Slutty. Like I said, Slutty is a top 5 offensive player. And he beat them so bad with this double move that Corey could have underhand softball pitched it to him. Yeah. Corey could have walked through and hand the ball to Slutty himself. And Corey missed this play. This brings the momentum back to YMM, and this puts a little pressure on Carver. Bad throw by Corey, turnover on down.
Now I have a question. Yes, it was a better throw, better result, but it hit his hand.
Stop.
I'm just saying, bro.
Stop.
Ghost, when you go back,
stop.
I don't know.
Listen, but you know what it is? He was already sailing out of bounds. He wouldn't have been.
He was sailing.
So that's why I'm like, at the end of the day, it would have been an incomplete pass because of the way the ball was thrown. So either way, that's a bad throw by Corby. He got to take that. Yeah.
Don't disrespect bad. Horrible. It's better. Not bad. That's horrible. Little kids are bad in kindergarten. That's bad. Little kids not wanting to take a nap in kindergarten, it's bad. This is horrible.
You could have sent a snail with the ball on its back.
Correct.
Before the defender got
And
there,
Corey, a lot of people say the issue they have with Corey is he plays with no passion. He doesn't play like his life depended on it, like we see other guys play. We see the frustration of him when he goes down, but Corey seems at times to lack the passion to want to carry his team and lead his team to win. And we see this horrible throw, and it gives Carver back the ball. Second down, Chuck throws a sound open in the gap for a nice gain. If you look here, the defense is dropping too far. They're doing it again. I guess Carver got the cooties because they're already in the deep zone. And then as Carver come out, they drop back farther. I'm confused. If I'm right, the score is 26-14.
Yeah.
You're not in a man. You need the ball. You need the ball. They're staying in the zone. I don't understand why. You need the ball back. But I digress. Third down, Chuck with blocker from Timmy, rolls right, finds Tech cut in the corner in the end zone for the touchdown. 32-14. Now this is the play. AB say he was tackled down. Now I'm the official on the line. If you look at my angle, there's two rushers coming in. So I have to watch both rushers from where I'm standing. I'm glancing at Timmy, but I can't stay on Timmy because Brown is coming in. So AB says he got grabbed and tackled to the ground. He may have had an argument there because you can't see a video. You may be able to see Tim possibly did that. But my issue with this, Lou and Ghost, is look at the side that Brown is rushing in from.
Right, he was on the same
He's
side.
all the way on the outside.
Yeah.
If he's coming in early from the inside, even if AB is blocked, Brown is there.
Yeah. But you know what happened? But you know what happened? He like you said, he comes from the outside. And when Timmy pushes him, because AB was on the other side, what Timmy does is he pulls him, flings him to the opposite side, and it's like AB runs into Brown. He gets in Brown's way as he runs in his path. So because of Timmy's block, he puts AB in position where Brown can't run around him. And that gives Chuck the opportunity to slide on the right side and get that throw off. Now, granted, it doesn't look like he was tackled down. It looked like he was just tossed to the other side. That was not a tackle down. Now, if you say that he got held and then thrown, maybe that's a question that's in there, but it didn't look like he got tackled down. And the fact that Chuck had that free lane, and not only that, because again, that wasn't the play that gave up. If you look in the backfield, Tech cuts from the left side. Jeremy is there, and Jeremy gets caught chasing, and he slows down as he chases Tech. Tech is running full speed. Jeremy slows down, watching the quarterback, and because of that, Tech gets that space to get to the corner. The ball is already thrown as Chuck is rolling to the right, wide open in the corner of the end zone. Because Jeremy slowed down and doesn't run full speed, he's not able to get there in time.
But you know what, it was a delayed route again.
Yes.
He stops near Jeremy and then just takes off and comes right across.
Right from the sideline.
You see how the guys opened up the field for he can get over there? Yes. That is another design play because it's too wide open to be a freestyle play. Yeah. So the way everybody's coming up makes it one-on-one with Jeremy. Tech is fast. And because he ran a delayed route, it caught Jeremy off guard. But where's the communication? If you're beat, you should be yelling out, help! Because Tech, again, Chuck had time to roll up and throw the ball into the corner. No defenders there helping. But so, you know, they got to say something, and they don't, and they get beat here for the touchdown. 32-14, Carver Mobb. Corey, on first down, throws deep to Jeremy, incomplete. Second down, Corey throws the edge open in the middle for a decent gain. Third down, Corey throws deep to Nunu with two defenders. Corey's already given up.
Yeah, well, the fat lady already.
No. Let me tell you something, Lou. I don't care what's going on. We got timeouts. I'm not going out like this. Corey came on this drive giving up.
What
You
was
threw
the
the
score?
Nunu, double covered.
no,
you
no.
see,
That's-
Slutty was open.
Yeah.
And look at
At the
Slutty's
10.
frustration. Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question, Lou.
Yeah.
If the game is over, why is Slutty mad?
Yeah, you're right.
Why would
More
Slutty
people-
have anything to say to Corey if the game is over already?
But you know why?
He gave up. He gave up on his drive.
Yes.
He
And
gave up.
and understand, Corey's frustrated. Slutty's frustrated because it's not the first time he missed him in
Yep.
this game. There's multiple opportunities where Slutty was open and Corey missed him. And then when he had an opportunity to throw a touchdown, Corey missed him with that touchdown pass that he missed. So yes, you're gonna be frustrated if you're a receiver, especially when you know that their team is struggling on defense. You need to respond, and they didn't. And when you have a quarterback giving up, that's frustrating for a receiver. Why am I running full speed, giving my all energy if I know the quarterback isn't going to give that same energy?
And that was
Fourth down.
a horrible decision to throw that ball at that time. Like you said, Kevin is right there at the 10.
Look, if
Easier
you
play.
want to give guys reps, you should have let me know. I would have put on a YMM jersey and went out for a catch. Because the way you just threw this ball double covered to Nunu shows you don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
Corey does what he did the whole drive. He throws the ball. Maybe he's trying to hit some type of seagull from the sky or something. Because he threw 3 bombs on 4 plays.
Stephen J, let's be realistic. You're not putting on no cleats and running nowhere. Remember the last time you tried to catch it.
Okay. Yeah. Way to bring me back to
All
reality.
right. And let's
Corey
let
throws the ball up.
Yeah.
Incomplete. End of the game. Carver comes away with the win. 32-14.
It was a spanking.
yeah.
Second
And
half, they couldn't score to save their life.
my question is this. They got certain plays early in the half going after B-Roy's side. Why did they go away from that? Who was B-Roy keeping up with on that field? Who? Besides maybe G, no insult to him, but you have a lot of fast guys. They had Dev getting some plays downfield in the gaps. Why did you go away from him? He got 1 pass.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. Like, what are you doing? You need your fast guys to get some quick plays in the gaps, but it looked like they went away from a lot of those plays.
By the way, the first down pass that he threw to Jeremy, Henry jumped with one hand, trying to be a superstar. And I'm not attacking him. What I'm saying is that was an interception. Henry goes up with 2, that's picked. He was toying with them. That's why he did it. So now we'll talk about the hit. I'm not going to really get on it. It was another scuffle. Real quick, the last play of the game when he threw the ball up, what do you think of the hit? Henry hit Juice. What do you think of the hit, Lou?
Definitely an elbow. It was a dirty play. There was no need for it. He definitely hit him with the elbow. That you could see clearly. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why Henry would do it. It's the end of the game. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I can understand why Juice was mad. You know, at least he pushed and didn't swing.
Right. He pushed him and didn't swing.
He pushed him. That's honorable, if anything.
And I think, listen, me personally, we just got smacked. We didn't play well. I like that. Again, Henry went dirty, but we've seen numerous guys in the league in general. Guys from YMM, Bama, Nightmare. People do stuff like this.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a flag. You know, the game was over, so it wasn't going to be, you know, I don't think the refs threw the flag because the game was over.
Yeah.
And you want to end the game because, you know, this is already going to be, you know, some type of issue. And I like that Juice pushed Henry this swing. He pushed Henry to let Henry know what you did was dirty. Juice came to me. He was frustrated because he says, listen, Jay, I got a job, got to work. It's not necessary. And I understand. My beef is everything does not have to lead into a fight. This is how you lose football. If everything leads into a fight, you will not have any football. So I don't think it needed to lead into a fight. We're not going to glorify it. We're not even going to discuss it. We was just talking about the hit. I understand why Juice got upset, and I applaud him for the push. Everything does not have to be a punch. The push let him know, listen, that was dirty, my dude. And that should have been it. Your thoughts, Ghost? And then we can break down the game. Because I don't want to focus on the thing.
Yeah. My thing is, listen, in terms of a play like that, listen, there's going to be certain guys that do plays like that, you know. Unfortunately, some people say that, it's unnecessary, but, you know, it is part of the game. It happens every now and then. There's certain guys that admit on all teams, we can point out to our faces turn blue who does it, who doesn't do it, whatnot. But it happens in the game. The fact that Juice didn't step up and, escalated by taking, he pushed them, whatever, and announced how he felt and left it alone, fine. The fact that, people want to take it more than that, that's when I say it's a problem, Address your issue or whatnot and then leave it as it is. At the end of the day, this team lost this game. And that's what I'm going to focus on. This team lost this game. If they wouldn't have made the mistakes that they made, they wouldn't be talking about the situation at all, because it would have been a different outcome. So they got to look at themselves and understand why the game ended the way it did. And I think that's what they were supposed to be focusing on.
We're going to have an interview with Chuck real quick. Chuck won championship MVP. He by throwing 5 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers.
Mm-hmm.
He won the MVP. We'll go to him and then we'll break down what we think real quick.
What's going on? Stephen J here with Chuck, starting quarterback of Carver Mobb, where they just beat YMM 32-14. Number 60. Number 60. What does that mean?
It's incredible because we started as like Carver in the 90s and we won our first one in 97. So for 97 to win in 2000, to win 2010, 2020s, and then still win the way we're winning. You know what I mean? Obviously throughout like a playoff run or something like that, close, whatever, but we kind of dominated this game, whatever. So it's kind of hard to be like, all right, we won 60, is it over, whatever? Nah, man. And we like playing. So, healthy competition.
5 touchdown passes you threw today. I know you usually come focused, but it seemed like you were laser focused. What was the routine this morning? What was it today that made you come like so focused and ready to go?
1, chip game, of course. 2, it's 460. And then we lose, we come back next season, then to start it all over again and let it build up. Hopefully make another chip to go through that again. I'm like, nah, we could get rid of this now. Now, it's kind of like saying the monkey is off our back. Next season we come in, we like, all right, we coming to play. Of course we coming to win, but there's no pressure. It's not really like a big goal in front of us. So, the 60 is crazy. Nobody's ever going to reach 60, ever.
And if I'm right, you three-peated.
Yes.
That's the
guy. And that was the other thing. YMM was the last team to three-peat. Right. And then we had to beat them for us to three-peat. Right. And they haven't been in the chip a long time, so I know they won it because they haven't won in a minute. So that's why it meant a little more.
How does a player that's then dominated the game for so long, how does a guy who's won multiple championships everywhere he went, what's your motivation? You've done it all. What's the point now?
Attack.
I want to see it. For a guy who done won a player who won a championship in every league he's played in, a guy who's dominated every accomplishment there is as far as accolades. What is the point? Why is coming out here? It's hot. It's steamy. What is the point? What is there left to do?
Honestly, throughout the season, I try to look for some type of motivation. Obviously now it's 60, whatever, but even before that, it's kind of like, all right, this season, am I getting old? Am I too old? Whatever. I don't never want to be mediocre or whack playing. So now it's like, all right, I can't look bad, win or lose, as long as I represent, and I do what I got to do, whatever, then I know I can still do it and have fun, whatever. And it's honestly, it's just a healthy competition. Like you said, playing so long, there's film on me everywhere for everything. So to come in and play against these defenses who are not, they're good. Right. So now I got to try to outsmart a good defense. That's like the motivation now. Let's see, can I still do it? Can we do it? Whatever. And
tell me about those 3 guys that's very close. Tech, Wes, and Henry. They all make good plays today. What is having those 3 players on your squad?
They kind of gave us a boost, like adrenaline rush, whatever, having them. So Tech got down by by accident, kind of, because he was supposed to play with Nightmares. But obviously, you know, the Long Island crew, Staten Island crew is like, nah, he got to come with us. And then we just kind of got like a connection going. Wes and Henry are one of the best two-way players in the game. So that kind of came easy. I just had to gel. But I think overall, our offense just complements each other. Sal could do a little bit of everything. He's like a tall boo-boo. I mean, Nas is Nas. He just gets busy. He's like my Edelman type player, whatever. So everybody complements each other. Timmy could block. He could run out. He could catch, whatever. Then if we need it, Aaron could come in and block, whatever. So we kind of like, over the years, we never built our team just trying to get the best players. We built our team what we needed and then get that part that we needed. Kind of like a car. You know what I mean? Something breaks. You just,
what y'all talking about? Greatest of all time. Greatest of all time. Go.
Bleep.
YMM was in the game in the beginning. And they always say when you're playing against you guys, you can't make a mistake. We seen him give up that touchdown to Henry. We seen Corey miss that throw to Slutty. When you seen him make those mistakes, did you know that was y'all opening to run away with the game?
Yes, absolutely. As the game is going on, we got a rhythm. I was feeling good, whatever. I'm like, all right, defense, we need like 1 or 2 stops, put the pressure on them. Because even though quarterbacks don't play against each other, you look at the other side and you go, dang, he got it going. So that means I gotta keep scoring to stay in the game. So that's where we could put the pressure on each other. So I'm sure Corey sees me like, dang, he scored again? I gotta score now. And then that one mistake, now you're down 2 scores, and then now you're thinking time, you know what I mean? So that part, I know I can put the pressure on the other quarterback.
Last question. You and Pam's been brothers since I've been kindergarten. What does this mean for y'all? Y'all built this together. We've seen a lot of franchises come together. One thing happen, separate. Another thing happen, break up. That has never happened to you guys. What would you say is the foundation? I believe that y'all friendship is the foundation of Carver. What can you tell us about that relationship with you and Pam?
Like you said, it's the brotherhood. Like we know, like when we created the team and then I became who I became as a quarterback, we knew we always got a shot to win. I'm quarterbacking, whatever, we got a shot. So now how can we get this to where we can make something out of it? And honestly, the Carver Mobb name came from, the Carver Mobb was like a gang, you know what I mean? Like our block gang. So we took it and was like, you know what, we could spin it into something positive, and now we're representing that name. So now we go back in the hood, all the OGs are like, yo, I like what y'all doing, that's dope. When y'all come play with it, come watch, and they see what we doing. And then at the end of the day, we love football. We like playing football. He loves coaching. You know, I love playing. Win or lose. That's the one thing. Win or lose, you see us the same way. Of course, we win, we happy. We lose, we shake the other team's hand. We stay here, drink, talk about the game, whatever, and then we back to the drawing board. But one other stat, I think we played like 10 seasons. We've been to the chip 9 times.
Wow. I'm going to just wrap it up saying this. Chuck is being a little modest. I think every great franchise is built off the foundation. We've seen all the franchises, multi-billion-dollar franchises built off of foundations. We also see it not last. Shaq and Kobe didn't last. Even Belichick and Brady didn't last because it always develops an animosity. I think the purity of their friendship and brotherhood is what keeps them together, and that's how you win 60. We're going to congratulate Carver for winning another championship. Shouts to YMM because they went through a lot to get here, so take nothing away from them. We're going to see y'all soon. It's Real Tough Talk. Stephen J. I'm out.
All right. Shout out to Chuck. Congratulations. I understand why he accomplished everything, but he just loves playing.
Yeah.
And once it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why leave with when you can still do it and you still have passion to do it?
Makes no sense.
But to retire because people feel he can't be beat is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Because then every time somebody win after he left at the top of the game, they're gonna say, you didn't beat him.
Right.
You didn't beat him. You didn't beat him. And it takes away from the championship with them not being. Remember, Carver wasn't even in EHS. The teams wanted them to join because they felt if Carver's not a part of it and they're the top team and they win and Carver was not in it, everybody's going to say you won because Carver wasn't in.
Yeah.
So you got to pick which side of the coin you want to be on.
And also, And,
Go
and
ahead.
for that, you're 100% right. And also, listen, when they do win, you got to give them that respect because you asked them to be here. And when they find their way into the championship and they win, you got to give them that respect because when they lose, they give that respect. So it's only fair when they win, you got to share in that respect because that's what the game is about. You know, it's fair that they earned this championship. They did. They earned it. Chuck, congratulations. He got MVP. He earned it. You know, there's some people that say, yo, it gets boring seeing Chuck win all the time. But listen, if he earned it, he earned it. What else can you say? You know, when this team earns it, they did. So at the end of the day, they played the game that they deserved to win, and that's exactly how it came about.
What's crazy is that I haven't really heard too many people say about, oh, it's not fair. There's certain media dudes that say that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
That just shows the socialist mentality that people have. Like you said, Jay, as long as you're enjoying it, look at West. Old man West retired because he didn't have no love for the game anymore. I'm saying if it's me, I'm coming for the 60th. But it didn't matter. You fell out of love with the game, so you left. You know what I'm saying? And think about this. There's only really like one original Carver dude or one dude that's played with them for years left on that team. And that's Nas. So he's doing it with a whole new group of people.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when people say, oh, he can only win with Carver, so what? That's his team.
I mean, you could say he only wins with Carver, and that's fine. I respect that. But this is what this league is about. This league is about playing with your guys.
With your guys.
If we're going to talk about UFL, then the whole rules are different. Kind of question his legacy there.
Right.
The new draft era. We can do that.
Right.
That's fine. But as far as EHS, which is like the football of the Rutgers of football, his team, they win. But we see why they win. Yeah. Now, my issue here, before I talk about Carver, I'm going to talk about YMM. One, my issue with YMM, who is the leader? Who's the guy that can sit down and say, we're not talking, this is what it is? Now, when YMM first came up and you had to be rah-rah to make a point because you was young, I get it. When you got to do certain things because if you don't, they'll walk all over you, I get it. They don't have to do that no more. They're already cemented. Their legacy is cemented with a lot of other teams. So you no longer have to be the biggest kid on the block. You don't have to be. You have to be strategic. And I think that their lack of having one voice, one leader, hurts them. The way that they kind of get into it with other teams because they're outspoken, sometimes that can hurt your organization because you don't have one person that's leading. I understand Josh is the coach, but is he really leading the team? Because at the end of the day, they made no adjustments. This defense gave up 5 touchdowns on 5 possessions. Juice should have been on defense. And Bones should never be at the ball giver. He's not knocking Chuck's pass down. Timmy's a great blocker. So you need AB there to rush the pass because AB keeps going. Why is Brown blitzing from 10 yards out? Put him on the line. The whole team knows he's rushing in.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the hike, he starts creeping up. But when you wait, it shows Chuck what part of the field is open when you expose Bulldog, your linebacker, to play more space. And he's not the fastest guy in the world. Mm-hmm. So you already gave that up. That's why they attacked the middle all day.
Yeah.
Slutty got caught in a lot of inside-out routes. What they did was they put him in a box and they moved him to the outside because Slutty is not quick as a defender. It's different as an offensive player because he uses some of that quick moves from basketball. But it's different when you have to telegraph which way the offensive player is going. It's different when you could tell your brain which way you want to go. But when you have to figure out which way the guy you're defending is going, you're going to get exposed. And
especially that's on timing routes. Yep.
And Corey, listen, is Corey a better quarterback than Jeremy? I don't know. Jeremy's a better runner. Right. Jeremy's a bigger threat to go downfield.
Right.
Corey does not play like he's ready to die on the field for his guys. Unfortunately, YMM plays too much like that. But Corey never looked like, yo, we got to get it together. Yo, let's go. It's, you throw a pass to Nunu in double coverage. Good try, Nunu. What else is going to do but try? You got double coverage.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
But you know what, Jay?
You got to stop calling him the professor because he can't figure it out. He hasn't figured it out in years. And that's the frustration. And after their first 2 touchdowns, they didn't score in their next 3 possessions. Their next 3 possessions, they did not score. You miss a wide open throw to Slutty. You didn't get Slutty involved in the game earlier. And if Corey's supposed to lead the team, he's supposed to say, listen, give me Juice out there. I'll put Juice and Jeremy at the safeties. Let me slide Tanner and Ice at the corners, or I'm going to put Tanner at the safety, move Ice to the corner, bring in Slutty. I got to make moves. And why are you blitzing Brown from 10 yards out? It makes no sense. G should never be off the field. Now that G got a little more speed, he's a threat coming out the backfield. But they didn't capitalize on this because they don't have one voice. And Corey has no voice. So that's the issue. We can sit down and say anything we want, but we've seen this team get beat on one-on-ones where Buto could not stay with Tech. We've seen Tech beat Jeremy. We saw it early on that move that Chuck put the ball in the bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
But then they ran a delay and he beat Jeremy going to the other side. Then we seen they isolate Slutty in a package and he gets beat on a double move. This is not a good defense. And you have to make sure you get Slutty the football. He's your best offensive player. He has to have at least 10 catches. At least. But they don't do that. And now Carver wins another title. They three-peat against the last team that three-peat. Chuck and Pams get their 60th chip. And unfortunately, because of the little situation, I don't think that we really got to celebrate it. Again, I'm not going to get into that. That's above my pay grade. But at the end of the day, Carver beat YMM. YMM got beat. Once Corey could not score, it was over. This was supposed to be a shootout. When Corey saw his defense could not stop, he needed to play every possession like they needed it to win the game, and he did it.
You know what's crazy? You mentioned in the beginning of when we first started recording how Jeremy, Bones, and them played with Carver, whatever. Maybe they should have brought Corey along to learn from Chuck. Because
Corey's making the same mistakes he makes. And again, you can't play for a passionate team with no passion yourself. I'm going to start, listen, respectfully, I'm going to start calling Corey Tin Man. Remember the Tin Man for winning his eyes? What did he need?
Heart.
I need it, Corey. I need it. The troops are following you. And once you see Chuck putting on a stage, I'm going to be better than him. Because at least Jeremy's giving me that.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy's giving me that passion.
Yeah.
Corey plays quarterback like everything's going to be all right. Well, I know a few co-ed leagues you can go and do that in. But when you're playing in the ruckus of football, if you're not passionate, Danny has passion. We've seen Reem has passion. Corey's out there like he's there to play catch with the kids. Then stay home. Stay home. Because that's what's going to do it all the time. He didn't seem like he was on a big stage trying to outdo Chuck. We know you're not playing Chuck one-on-one. We know you're playing YMM's Carver Mobb's defense, but you should be playing like, that guy's not going to outdo me.
Yeah.
We're not going to lose this game because I'm not doing my part.
And the sad part is, you know that he plays better than this. This is not even near his best football. We know.
We got to keep saying that. We're never going to get his best football.
Listen, this is the first championship they've been in. Look, the first EHS championship since 2018. 2018, that's
but honestly, let's be honest. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Is it because it didn't work out for me, or is it because I'm not putting in the energy to get me there?
Oh,
Again, YMM can no longer beat teams with just talent because everybody's as talented as them now.
That's
It's
the
not
thing.
more because the BK Nightmares are coming. Hey, yo.
yeah, that's a dumb yo. That's a big A, yo.
So listen, you got to figure out what you're going to do. And for me, I love YMM, but the rah-rah thing is not getting you nowhere. That's not winning you championships no more.
Nah.
You have to be smarter. You have to be more strategic. And you have to know what upgrades you need to make. You can't keep going with the same thing and expecting different results. This defense is not good. They were not good at all. And I know I can get a little creative, but the numbers don't lie. They gave up 5 touchdowns on 5 possessions.
Never stopped them.
No.
So they play a perfect game on offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. Last thing we're gonna talk about. August 16th, we're gonna have the UFL playing game, Browns versus the Shockers. What's your thoughts? And then we'll give Carver a congratulations, and then we'll wrap it up. What's your thoughts on the playing game, real quick? Lou, you starting with you.
It's gonna be interesting. You know, a couple of guys I guess will be leaving the Monarchs. Ramsey being one of them. I know.
If they win.
If they win, and I'm saying just Stephen J would be happy because of the fact that Ramsey isn't going back to play receiver.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Browns, I've seen the Browns team and they look good. You know what I'm saying? The Shockers, you know, last season in EHS wasn't too very good looking. Right. But let's see. You got some time.
And the winner will get Alex and
yeah, that's the big thing. Yeah. Hey, yo.
Because Don't Sleep dropped out.
Right.
So they're playing for their spot.
Right. Alex
was the first round. Shannon was the second round. Ghost, your thoughts real quick.
Listen, that's gonna be interesting to see who comes away with that because we saw the Browns take their shot last time with GTM. They came up short, GTM winning their spot. So this is their second try to get into the to get into the UFL with their playing game. You know, yeah, they're not getting the NFL no time soon. But no, listen, but the thing about it is, this is their second shot. How bad does it look if they lose 2 times in a row trying to get into the UFL on a playing game? So this is all or nothing for them. You know that they're looking to, win this game all or nothing. With the Shockers, I need to see what team they come with, before I can take them seriously. Yeah, I'm hearing Ramsey's going to throw, but who else is there? I saw some guys on the field on Saturday, but that's not enough for me to be a believer and say, you know what? They got a shot. I don't know. But then again, GTM surprised me. So I'm up for surprises, and I can't wait for it.
Basically, meaning they surprise you when you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I'll wrap it up real quick.
This whole thing is a question.
Shout to Carver winning number 60. Shout to Pams and Chuck for the organization they built. They took it's been time, man. And they've been at the top of the mountain for a long time. And you enjoy it because one day it's all going to be over. So you try to enjoy the ride as you do it. We've seen a lot of guys retire. Danny retired. You just said West retired. You know what I mean? So we've seen core guys retire, and this team still finds a way to do it. And Chuck, one of the oldest quarterbacks, if not the oldest quarterback, throwing and still winning and still breaking down teams. So you got to give them this shout out. 60s big time. And shout to them for doing it. The whole organization, Skip, Pam's, Chuck, and the rest, Henry, West, all the rest of them, Timmy. It's so many guys I mentioned. Shout to them. I still think it's weird that B-Roy won the championship with them. And I know B-Roy said when they had an issue in the first round, he was desperate for them not to lose that game because it would be like Carver in the first round the year that they get B-Roy.
Yeah.
So that's funny. On the other side, YMM, listen, at the end of the day, they still got here. They beat a DEFCON 1 team that was hot. A lot of people thought that this was their year. So it's not over for YMM. I think they need to upgrade. I think we can't say they're going to establish a main leader because they haven't had one really for years. I think it's weird that we've seen Tanner be a little quiet this game. He's usually a little more vocal. So we need to know what's going on there. I think it's weird that we didn't see Juice on defense. I think it's weird that we didn't see AB starting on the giver the whole time. We see G gets pulled out of the game when Corey desperately needs a blocker. So it's a lot of things that they did that your leader's supposed to step up and say, this is what we're doing. They miss
Yeah.
Rico. But Rico's doing other things, man. Rico's living his life, and we miss him, but we glad to see him all successful. But YMM got to figure out what they're going to do and who they're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end. Now, they don't have any question on their legacy. Winning 3 in a row and impacting the game from young is huge. So they're already solidified in the history of TFL. You can't tell the TFL story without talking about YMM, especially the way they did it. They did it the way you're supposed to do it. They grinded out, brought the guys from the minor leagues. Look at Buto. Buto came from Loud Pack. No one thought about Buto being the elite middle linebacker the way he is, and he's played great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've seen Jeremy, who was literally a hothead and still a little hot-headed, but he's still capable of being a top 3-way player at offense, defense, and quarterback. We've seen what Juice can do now that he calmed down the temperature and he's playing ball. They got a lot of weapons. Egg stepped up this game. You know what I'm saying? You had we seen Dev do a lot of damage. You know, they picked up AB, who had a big sack, and had brought a little pressure. My issue is Corey did not play well, and the defense collectively did not play well. Ice has to get better into the game. He got to understand, Father Time does not lose. And now that he's off the whole summer, hopefully, he needs to get his body in shape and heal up. He plays with a lot of bangs and bruises and tries to tough it out. He has to heal. Same thing with Bones. These guys got to heal up and be ready for the long grind of the season. Because at the end of the day, when you're in the championship, you're playing the final boss. And you can't make the mistakes they made and expect to win, especially to a team that two-peated and was going for a three-peat.
Yep.
So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Shout to Carver. Shout to YMM. We want to thank y'all. It's a blessing doing this show. Appreciate you guys. On behalf of Real Tough Talk, I'm Stephen J, my partner Ghost, my partner Lou the Shooter. We're going to see y'all guys really soon. And like I always say, when you put God first, everything else will work itself out. We talk to y'all later. Much love. We out of here.